Hello guys, welcome to C Code Lab. In today's lectures, we will learn what types of deductions to magic, why every C developers needs auto. And before we go into the stage or the body of auto, we will try and understand the advantages. Let's try and know the advantages of auto. So the first one is a simplified code. Is to create a simplified code. So what does that mean? Reduce the need to write long complex types of declaration, making the code more readable and concise. So the second advantage is type safety. Auto ensures that the deduction type is correct while still enforcing simple strong type systems. The last one, which is the third one, which is flexibility with templates. It's one of the most important lines, or one of the important lists out of these three, because it serves as one of the major parts of auto keywords, because it is one of the major reason why auto is very important or very advantageous to C++. So it allows streams lines code involving templates where types might be complex or unknown. So now we have tried to understand, or we have tried and bring this to our understanding or to our knowledge. This is just the prefix of the topic. So now let's try and understand what auto is. So if you move to the next slide, we have auto keyword here and auto here. So what does auto mean? It allows the compilers to deduce the types. I mean, what do you understand by it allows the compilers to deduce the type? Oh, we already know what compiler is already. Oh, sorry, I mean we know what compiler is. So now let's try and understand how does it relate that. When compiler is the one that reads your code and then generates your code to binary, and the first thing that takes place is the compiler. So before your code can be sent to binary, the compiler goes through your code if there are errors or if there's any kind of issue, or if they are correct before it's been sent to binary or before things occur. So it allows the compilers to deduce the types. This is a situation whereby it reasons according to the types, or according to the initializing part. It reasons and comes to conclusions. But I'm not sure you guys will understand this. But let me try and move to the next one so you guys can get what I'm trying to say. The auto key in C++ play an important role in modern C++ programming. Introduced in C++ 11 and improved later in standard. So it was introduced. The auto key was introduced in C++ 11, and later it was more improved in C++ 14. Actually, yes, I think it's 14. So it was improved in C++ 14. That's the version, or the version of it. But currently we are on 26. Yeah, we are on 26. C++ 26. So it allows the compilers to automatically deduce the types of variable from its initializer of the function's return types, which is particularly useful for scenarios involving complex types. So what this means is that it's like what the deduce means is it makes the compiler or reasons and come to conclusion according to the value you are assigned to auto. But let's try and understand more about that. Let's try and understand that. So now we have list of auto key used here, and what is the meaning of all these guys here? Fine, we have just one data type here, which is the keyword here, and we use it for all this value here. Fine, this is how it works. Like I said, auto is used to deduce the types according to the initializer. So the initializer part is what is 31. According to our previous lecture, we know that when we use 31, it is used, or it is initialized to what integer, which is int. So what auto is that auto reason between the reason. I mean, it makes the compiler reason between this initializer and come to the conclusion that the value that should be stored in this place should be for the integer, which we have here. And we can also use the same thing here, the auto keyword, the same auto keyword here. So like I said, what you should try and understand is that what auto do is that it makes the compiler reason and come to the conclusion what types of variable what types of value should be stored in your variable. So it makes the compiler reason. Like if the compilers come to these lines of code, compiler has to reason. It makes it reason that when you use compiler, think that compilers reason in between these lines of code, in between these lines of code, and make this particular variable this type of data we have here. So it makes the initializer. It's reason between this initializer. It makes the initializer reasons, or sorry about that. So I'm sorry about that. So it's auto actually makes the compiler reasons, the reason in between the initializer, in order to give the variable the types of data type that should be stored in it, or in terms of data that should be used actually. So yeah, we actually have we use that, we taught this in our previous or class lectures, and what is stored here is just a single quote, which is just a single quote today. And what auto does that is going to reason in between this and what, just take it through and said, okay, fine, you use auto, you are using char here, and it's going to what, store this or make this variable as char value. So this is the same thing here, and where we have float, and yes, in float you have to suffix your float in order to use float. You know, if you use both float and doubles, they are alike, they have the same types of let's say they are of the same kind of types, but to specify double and float you have to suffix your float value, and in order to differentiate in between float and double. So in order to differentiate in between float and double, so the purpose of doing that is for the compiler and the auto keywords to reason to reason what types of data should be stored. It's either float or double. If you do not suffix this, the compiler is going to store this as double. If you suffix this, it's going to store it as float, because it has been suffixed as float. So, and we have here long double here. So we have long double here, and the compiler is going to reason in between auto and use the initializer to store the value that should be here. And here we have integer modifier. It also actually affects or it reflects also on in integers modifier. So by using this suffix here, by using this use suffix here, it allows us to or it allows what types of value should be stored, or what type of value should be called, should this variable be called. So these are the expansion, let's say the little expansion or the basic expansion of AutoKey. And if we move to the next one here, we actually print the size of our variable by using the size of, and after we use auto to declare our variable, and here we print the size. So you're going to see the size printed on the on the screen when we move this to Visual Studio. So if we should move to the next one here, so let me try and bring you a little bit more about auto. And before we actually round this up, it's not really much we're going to talk about today, because auto is something we can actually round up, and since we are not getting to the advanced, really advanced stages of it, so we just want us to understand the basic part of auto, because it's important we actually take this right now. So major purpose of auto, let's say the major purpose. So this is not the purpose of it's a part of the purpose. Other purposes are not excluded, but the major purpose of using the word auto is it's the advantage when working with XTL container. If you actually understand what XTL, or in component of C++ language, we actually talked about XTL. So XTL is standard templates library. So when we are working with XTL demands complexity. demands complexity. So when we are working with complexity stuff like that, we need auto, in order to detect what types of value, or sorry, what types of data types we might have been using, or we might not even know what types of data types we end up using. So by relying on auto key, it helps us to source these specific reasons in HTML library. So we have library functions or complex templates like that, and some functions return types that are complicated to specify, that this involve in lambdas functions, lambdas for expressions or iterators. Instead of specifying the types, you can use auto. So here is just the functions. We are not to treat this specific code in this particular lecture, but I just want to bring you I want to relate you guys to what auto is being used for. I don't want you to make it exclude from your area. So I just want to bring these specific lines of code to your understanding how it's been related to others functions. So here we have just this let's say three or 4 lines of code, let's say 5 lines of code including this right line. Okay, so now we have auto keyword and we have lambdas function here, and it returns x plus y, which is being restored in this auto. But don't worry, we're going to understand a little bit more about that. So this is just the sum of the two values. We have this x, the sum of x and y, which is 5 and 6, and it's going to return it to auto, and the result is deduced as integer, because where we have decimal and here we have decimal, it is not float and it is not other data type, which we know. So it's just integer, and which we should know, which we can know we can actually know this particular result, because this is just an integer value. It's an integer value, and so we can actually specify what type of value should be stored here. And if we should go to the next one here, we should go to the next one. So we have the advanced example. So templates returns deductions with templates allow the return types to be deduced, which simplifies writing templates functions. So this is one of an advanced stage in C++ language, whereby we'll be working with templates. And here, if we should look at this program or this specific code, you did not really identify any or we didn't really bring up any data type that is really familiar to us, because this is not really specified not as data types, and here is not a data type, and until we get to see what auto here. So on the nouns, this is an advanced, like I said, it is an advanced topics in C++ language. We are not meant to treat this specific in these lectures, but I just want to bring you how auto is being related. So now in this particular code, lines of code here, the auto here, we are actually calling up this specific value here without giving it data types, without specifying a data type to it, without specifying a data type to this this function here. But with the help of auto in this particular function, it helps us to override, or it helps us to conclude and deduce the types of functions it helps us to deduce the types of value that should be stored in this variable here, in these two variables that we have here. So it helps us to deduce the types of, it helps us to reason and comes to conclusion about what types of value should be stored here when we call it in the main function. So that is how autos really specify work, but we will understand that a little more about that. So we have summary of auto. So introduction in C++ C11 and enhanced in C14 later. So it was introduced in C++ 11 and it was enhanced, was improved, what was adjusted in C++ 14 later. So it simplified types of declaration, especially with complex types. So one of the importance of auto keyword. So it helps with modern C++ programming like range-based loops and lambdas with template programming. It requires careful use of all intent types deductions, e.g. reference and const qualifiers. So these are the little or brief summary of what auto can be used for, or what the purpose of auto. So now as we end this particular video, let's go into our Visual Studio Code and actually work with this. So I have actually make the function. So let me just run and then auto. So here we're gonna do code. Okay, fine, and this is what we're gonna get there. So what we're gonna do is that we will use auto keyword. And what's going on? Oh my god, so I type this again. I actually want to copy this in order to get very fast, and then I don't want to retype this. Let me zoom this in order to have a very good and clear view. Okay, I might have little issue here in this particular stage. So good, we have auto key. And I hope you guys understand what auto is now. It deduces our variable, or types of variable. Sorry. Okay, sorry. So auto actually, I think we understand what auto means now, so I don't need to explain that again. I'm sorry about the confusion. So now you understand that it allows the compiler to deduce the types of variable that should be here. So now let's try and print this on the screens, and let's say we have them printed on the screen. Either we expect error or anything, something like that. Sorry. So we're gonna copy this, and to make it very fast, we're gonna copy this and repeat that. So it remain 1 and 8. Okay, let's try and run this code, and 3 was wrong. Okay. Oh, there's error here. 1 2 3 4. Okay, there's error here. Specifically, there's error. This should be 4 actually. This should be 3. So now let's try and run this specific code. And you can actually use Ctrl+Shift+B to do such, to call your compiler, to run your compiler. So we're gonna wait a little bit and see our value being printed on the strings according to what we have here, without throwing error. Okay, sorry about the time spent trying to run this. So okay, I think it has generated our code, and then let's try and run. So we can also use Ctrl Shift and your key in between escape and tab. That's in between escape and tab. This should be fast, please. Okay, so here we have lab. So we have our value being printed on the screens according to what we have in our value here. So they are printed here, and now let's try and check the size of them. Let's try and check their size. And I was thinking I should just copy what we have here, and I think we have issue kind of, because this let me check the I think it's gonna spend more time. So now we're gonna do the copy and paste stuff like that. So and see that we use Control A and Control V here, and I know we're gonna have some kind of issue because these fronts are different. That is why the double quotes is not making sense here. I will change the code. I will change the font in order to have access to this code without no adjusting it. That's gonna be a lot. Maybe I should just make it on 1 and or 2, whatever it is. It's gonna be a lot to do. Okay, now I'm gonna delete this part here. So it will consume time. So in order to have access to this quick, so it's gonna be a lot of adjustments. So now we're gonna do, and there's even error here. The variable should be variable 2, not 1. So we have 3 here, and we're gonna have 3 here as well, and we're gonna have the same thing here, the same thing here, but different value, like that should be 4 different value like we know. And this is gonna be 5 as well, and 6 and 6 as well, and here is gonna be 7 and 7 here as well, and this is gonna be 8 and 8 here as well. So now let's run our code. So we're gonna do Control Shift B, Control Shift B, and then click on Enter key. So let's try and hold on for a while, and then we're gonna get to our peak as soon as possible. So now let's try. Sorry. Okay. Alright, this is very good. So in the first one here we have variable 1. Let's check the variable 1. I should really specify it in order to get it. So we have 4 bytes, which is integer, and this is integer value, and we have it here. Even our code editor is helping us out to specify what type of value we have here. So we have integer, and let's go to here and let's see. We have cache, so we have it stored as 97 in the memory of decimal, or it's been translated as 94 in integer, which is char here and char here. So we have floats, we specify it. So float is 4 bytes, which is having 4 bytes also here, and we have this is double. So even the compiler, so a code editor is helping us out, solving those things for us. So we have long double, which is 16 bytes here, So double is 8 bytes, which is 4. We have it here. And when we move forward, we have the auto modifier. So auto modifier, they are 8 except, sorry, they are 4. This is on sign int, and this is on sign long, and we have here on long, which is 8 bytes. So this is one way you can actually use your auto keyword in order to have access to or in order to deduce your value according, or in order to deduce the values of your code according to the initializing section, or the initializer, according to the initializer. This is to bring this into your understanding. Here is the initializer, and here is the variable, and here is your auto key, which is auto keyword that we have known. So now what the compiler is going to do is that when the compiler gets these lines of code, it's going to know. Compiler knows this as auto keyword. So auto keyword is not like integers or other data type. What compilers think when it sees auto is that it does not actually give it the value here until it gets to the initializing part. When the compiler sees that the initializing part it is integer, it's going to drop the value of integer here. It's going to store this as, or it's going to store this as an integer value, and then here we have integer. And when the compiler gets to this line here, it does not give the, or does not specify the value that should be here, or it does not even know what should be here. Actually, compiler have no idea of what should be here. If the compiler it is still here. So then when the compiler gets to this particular stage here, it checks this stage, which is the initializer, and see as this is a car data type. And what the compiler is going to do, that is going to make this as car, and yes, this is known as cars in the memory. So when it gets to this one, float also, it checks the float, it sees the float was, and sorry, it checks the data types, and when it gets to this variable here, it doesn't give it anything. Doesn't give it float, double, or whatever. But when you get to this initializing section stage here, it's going to see it as a float. This is a float value, and what give or specify the value that should be stored here as float. So I hope you guys understand what auto keyword is. So I think that's everything I have to think about auto. So we will be taking the advanced example here, because in order to make this easier for us to understand, because you might really get it very confusing, very confusing, because there's a lot to cover up in order to get to that specific stage. So thank you very much for spending time to watch this up to this level, and bye, have a nice day.